feels good. That's the first time I've probably probably opened that up.
Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Propel's Virtual Garage. I'm your host Russ Titonia, coming to you from Siesta Key Beach in Sarasota, Florida, home of the Propel's North American Service Center. Today we're going to be talking about the VX2 Remote from Flipsky. The VX2 Remote is featured in our Endeavor Pro 1 and on our Endeavor Pro 2. So we have a couple features. I want to show you how to pair it, how to go through the features, how to go through the menus, things like that. One other thing before we get into it, if you should damage your remote and you go buy a new one somewhere, if you buy it from Flipsky or Alibaba or wherever you buy it, when you buy it, you get the remote, the lanyard, USB cable for talking to the VESC, a USB charging cable, and a module that links into your VESC. Now the way the Flipsky works is it actually speaks to a module that plugs into your VESC. The ESCs that we feature aren't like that. They talk directly to the ESC, but with the Flipsky is an actual module. So the point behind all this is if you buy it somewhere else, you have to switch out that module as well. If you buy it from Propel, the modules that come the modules that Flipsky sends us are already programmed for our module. So with that, let's get at it. Okay, so we're going to start off with the anatomy of the VX2 Remote. Up top you have your color screen. Below that you have your thumb wheel or your throttle and braking wheel. Below that you have two buttons. You have your power button and you have your select button. Below that you have a lanyard to put around your wrist so it doesn't fall off, because that's how remotes get damaged most commonly, just dropping them on the ground. Eventually you loosen up connections and things happen. Below that is a USB port for charging, and that is the anatomy of the VX2. Okay. So the next thing we'll get right into is we'll turn it on. To power it on, long press on the power button, and it's on. We'll let that screen populate. Okay, now we have all kinds of good stuff we're seeing there. So let's walk through what we're seeing on the screen, okay? Let's see here. Okay, let's start in the center with our miles per hour, okay? Miles per hour, you can also change it to kilometers per hour. I'll show you how to do that as we go along. Below that to the left is your odometer. This is a trip odometer only. It does not show you, the VX2 anywhere does not show you your overall mileage. It just shows you your trip. So keep that in mind. Directly across from that in the opposite corner right here is your current draw. That's measured in amps. So as you get on the throttle, you'll see that number gets higher and higher, and as you come off the throttle, it'll get lower. All the way above that in the top corner is another little battery indicator with a yellow bar in it. That is your remote power. That tells you how much power is left in your remote, how much of a charge is left. Directly below that, we have our ping rate. This tells you how well the board and the remote are communicating with each other. The higher that number gets, you'll notice, like if you walk away from the board, that number will go higher and higher. You want to get that number as low as possible. A normal operating one, I believe, is single digits to low teens. Okay, now back up above to the remote charge indicator, how much power you have left in your remote. Right next to that is a little red number, and that is the number. It actually tells you, it should be green. If the board were turned on, it would be green, and it would tell you the actual number percentage of how much power is left in your battery. So 25, 27, 28%. Okay, then directly right next to that, here, let me put the board on so we can show you. Directly right next to that, let's wait that populates. So you can see, okay, there we go, 24. So I have 24% left in my battery. Okay. Next to that is the little shape of a skateboard. It's just the same thing. It's just a bar meter. So I have 1 bar left. And then next to that is the FW for forward or reverse. When you switch it into reverse, it'll say RW. And next to that just shows you your signal power and that the board is on and communicating and is paired with this remote. Okay. So next thing we do, we walk through how to use the menus, okay? So let's shut the board off just for the heck of it. Okay. Turn the remote on. Okay, long press on the select button, that'll call up your menu. Alrighty. The first screen in our menu is battery cells. Many of these screens you won't have to touch, they're preset by the factory. To scroll through the menu, you just keep pressing the select button, it'll bring you to the next screen. So battery cells 12, leave that alone. The next one is pole pairs, 7, leave that alone, scroll to the next one. Speed option, miles per hour. So if you're in Europe and you want kilometers per hour, the way you would change that is you would do a long press on the select till it blinks, like that. Then use your thumb wheel to change it. Kilometers per hour, miles per hour, kilometers. Okay, I'm gonna go back to miles per hour because that's what I use. To get back to your main screen, one press on the power button. Okay, and now we're back to speed option. Now we go back to our select button to keep scrolling. Wheel type, pulleyed, leave that alone. Wheel diameter, 175. Now I have this set at 175 because I'm using the 7-inch tires. If you use the 8-inch tires, you need to press select, use your thumb wheel, and scroll that number up to 200. Okay, so again, 8-inch tire, that setting should be 200. 7-inch tire, it should be 175. We'll scroll to the next window. Motor pulley, 14, leave that alone. Wheel pulley, 72, leave that alone. Throttle calibration, pairing, the big one everybody's been waiting for. Okay, pairing. So as you can see here, I've brought the remote back to its home screen because I wanted to be able to show you guys that there's no signal bars up in the top left. The skateboard battery is not populated, and my percentage number is red and not green with an actual number, which tells me that the board is not paired and is not communicating. So to pair it, super easy with a VX2. We're going to get back into those menus with a long press on select. Okay, and then we're going to select all the way through until we hit pairing again. Sorry, I keep moving this off screen. Sorry about that. And then once we're in the pairing screen, it's as simple as holding down the select button, and then this pairing word will start flashing, and the pairing menu will pop up. So I'm going to long hold the select, and there we go. This means that the remote is now ready to pair. Okay, so now I'm going to reach over and turn on the board, and once I do, that's all it takes to pair the remote. You'll see everything stop populating. It's that easy. Okay, so board is on, pairing successful. Now we have our little signal up in the top left corner. Our skateboard battery is populated, and I have 54%. That's it. Now we just double check the throttle just to make absolutely sure it went through. We're good to go. Rock and roll. Now let's get back to our menus. Get back to where we were on the pairing. Okay, and scroll to the next one, which is ESC type. Leave that one alone. That's set from the factory. Next is fault check. You can come here and see if you've had any fault codes pop up. Handy if you do have some. It's handy information to have for customer service. Battery cells, leave that one alone. Again, that's the first screen in the menu, so we have scrolled all the way through and we are back to the beginning. So to get out of the menu, all you do is press power once and we're back to the beginning. Okay? Now, that covers the screen and the menus. Now we'll work through a couple of the different functions. Okay, one function is the changing of the speed modes. That little letter over on the left I talked about earlier, and that's real easy. All you have to do is hit your select button and it scrolls right through them, okay? So, low, hit it again, it's high, hit it again, it's medium, hit it again, it's low, and then it scrolls back up to high again. Okay, I'm going to leave it in high because that's where I use it. Let's see, we covered pairing, how to shift out of the different speed modes. Oh, reverse. Reverse is very important on this one. Now, I'll show you how to do a typical reverse, but then I'm also going to tell you that I don't use it, and I'll tell you why. But anyway, this is how you switch the board from FW to RW up here, from forward to reverse. You pull back on the throttle wheel, and you press the select button once, and that will reverse the motors. So pull back and press, whoops, pull back and press, motor reverses. Okay, now it's in reverse. Pull back and press, motor reverses, now it's in forward. Now the reason I don't use that is because the VX2 comes with a feature, which is my favorite feature of this remote, called Smart Reverse. So let's say you're tooling down the road, okay, you're giving it throttle, and then you come back off the throttle and you start braking. Well, if you continue going backwards on that braking, the board starts going in reverse, okay? That's called Smart Reverse. The board is set from factory to default at 3 miles an hour max, and it's a slow ramp up. So again, you'll be going forward, and then you hit your brakes, and then you continue backwards, further past the braking, and it initiates reverse. This is awesome for doing 3-point turns because you don't have to switch. You don't have to, start your turn, switch to reverse with some keystrokes, back up, switch back to forward with some keystrokes, and then go and then continue on your way. No, you never have to take your thumb off the thumb wheel. You just put it in Smart Reverse, do a little bit of your backup, and then forward again, and you're gone. Okay. That covers, I think, pretty much everything with this remote now, right? We covered forward reverse, smart reverse. You know, touching a little bit on smart reverse. Smart reverse can be configured in VESC, and that's why a lot of you guys bought the Pro. Some of you couldn't be bothered to play with the settings, and that's fine. But for those of you who have, you know, that's one of the more common ones. A lot of people like to bump that 3 miles an hour up to 4, 5, or 6 because they use reverse quite often and want it to be a little quicker. And again, you can control the ramp up time on that, so it's not so aggressive. But the big note is, if you play with VESC, make sure you have somebody knowing what they're doing, holding your hand. And by holding your hand, I mean literally on a screen chat with you, looking at your screen, because one keystroke and you can do damage. So I can't reiterate that enough. If you're going to mess with the parameters, make sure you have help. But that's it. I think that covers pretty much everything on the VX2. Okay, so that wraps up this episode of PVG on the Flipsky VX2 Remote. And if I forgot anything, feel free to fire away with a question below or shoot me a PM on Facebook, whatever you need to do. But we're happy to answer any questions for you. And once again, for some of the newer members to the Propel family, this is Propel Virtual Garage. It's our online service and maintenance tutorial library. This is made just for you. I recommend you subscribe below, hit that like button, and then every time I make a video, it'll show up in your email, and if it applies to the model you own, you'll have a little more knowledge to work with. But signing off from Sarasota, Florida, Russ Tetonia, ride hard, ride safe, and ride Propel.